Hi, hey fam, how are you? So we are going to be looking at differences differences between most African countries and USA. This one should be fun. I'm going to wait a little bit to see if someone is going to come on and if someone would like to ask me questions, or yes, if I can have someone from anywhere within Africa ask me questions about here, and someone from here ask me questions about back home, back in Africa. So this will be fun. It's Saturday special. Yay! So as I'm waiting, I thought we could look at social norms between here and most African countries, and we can look at economical differences. We can also look at cultural, yes, cultural differences. If I think of another one, I'm going to write it. Relationships, we can look at that. Oh my God, this one also when it comes to, um, yeah, I will start with this one because this one just popped on my head, and I thought I could talk about this. So something that I found, so I still find it very different, and it's weird. But first, let me start before I go to my first point. Since I've been waiting for someone to come on, I see I have one view right now, so I can go on and start talking a little bit more, going into the topic. So the topic is differences between most African countries compared to the US, like things I've experienced or observed that are different. So the first one, this popped in my mind just a few seconds ago, is that love the chat. Okay, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, Miriam. Good morning. Hi. So getting back to the topic, when it comes to the differences is, back in, I'll talk about Zambia since that's where I grew up and that's where I went to my high school. Also used to be called secondary school, but now called high school, just like here. Is when it comes to teachers and students, back in Zambia and most African countries, there is no real like, oh, that's a teacher, you should fear them and stuff like that. Not fear them, like there are things you can't really say in front of them. Whilst here in the US, there is like you can joke, you can make some jokes and stuff like that. But I think, if I do remember correctly, let me know, people back home, if things have changed. But you can joke and you can say anything, and it's no big deal. The world will not end. Like you can have sarcasm. Some students could be silly and prank teachers not really prank teachers, but students can even just like tell the teacher something directly. And here there are boundaries. They're like, no, you can't say that. No. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's one. And I found this one strange because people back in African countries, what we call naughty there is not considered naughty here. It's like normal, but there are more boundaries here, unless that side. Or maybe that's why. So that's one. I can talk a little bit more about that if someone asks a question or gives me their perspective as well. The second one that I found very different, I sort of get it, but I struggle with this, and the only way I found to like adapt is to keep to myself. Is people back home, most African countries, there is no such thing as personal space. There is no such thing as personal question. You can ask anything, anyone, and people feel entitled to know. People feel entitled to, you know, they can talk about your health, They can talk about your love life. People can, they can ask direct questions, like for example, someone can just walk up to a person and demand answers of where they were the night before, why they're hanging out with who they're hanging out with, why they choose to date who they're dating. um, and you don't even have to be related to a person. People, it's like, here there's a lot of individualism in the USA. And hi Miriam, good morning. And then back in Zambia, there is no individualism. The system there is, it's like a, it's like how would I put, it's like a community. It's a community. There's no such thing as personal business. Everybody has an opinion on another person. People always have something to say, and they can say it freely. There's nothing wrong. You can have an opinion on another person. You can actually tell them to the face what you think they should do with their life. So that's like normal back home. Here in the US, keep your opinion to yourself. I don't care. Like, no, you cannot. And then the other funny thing is, looking back, I'm still looking at cultural and social norms. Looking back at most African countries and Zambia specifically, someone can have a child and you tell them what they can do with their child. If the child does something silly, someone can tell off another person's child, and just go on and say, oh, they're being naughty or blah, blah, blah. But here in the US, you cannot. You say nothing. You see nothing. Like, it's, yeah. I sort of appreciate that, but because when it comes to parenting, I think people should stick to their own guns and not jump on another person's case. So I like it here when it comes to that. Cultural norms. Making out in public and being very affectionate here, I think most people know is very okay, very normal, no biggie. Back home, it's very like, for lack of better words, I say secret. It's something that it should be sacred. It's something you just can't do in public. Or maybe if you are, it's just maybe a bunch of kids and they're all okay, they're all cool, but you don't hang around, you don't show affection usually to a partner in front of a parent. Like, you can never do that. Whilst here, that's like a norm. And the other thing that I find different between USA and most African countries, and specifically Zambia this time, is in USA, when you're dating, you know, most people know this, you can bring your partner, introduce them to your family and stuff like that. It's considered decent. That's good of you. But back home, if you're dating, it should be a secret. Like, most African cultures, you don't parade your boyfriend to your parents. No, it's a dick, deep, dark secret. And then the only time parents get to meet the guy is when he's coming to engage you. So they beforehand, like, people, that's like traditional way. People do introduce, they do stuff like that, like it happens. But the normal way culturally, when it comes to boyfriends or whatever, anything in between, no meetups with parents. It should be a dark secret. That's one of the differences. When it comes to, again, social norms, this is something interesting between difference between USA and most African countries, specifically Zambia, is there is sort of like unity. So things like family, there is a lot of family, or it's just now just to start choosing to chase some, there is so much togetherness. Here there is no real connection. There is talk, but it's be nice kind of talk. So people who are here in the US, the culture that's here is you should be nice and you should be polite, because then you should be likable. But it doesn't matter who you are in the heart. It doesn't matter what you think about a person, but you should be just nice. Even if you see something you don't like, you're like, oh, that's so cute. But what I really mean is, it's so ugly, I don't like it. Yeah. The unfortunate thing is I speak that language, so I know it when someone is pulling that one on me, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Whilst back home, there is no such, in Zambia, there is no such thing as, okay, it's not really a thing to pretend that you like someone or being polite. African cultures, mostly Zambia, if you don't like someone, you tell them, I don't like you, you irritate me, I don't want to talk to you, or you show it. There's no make pretend. So if someone is there, they really like you. The times when you get people who you dislike and you act like, it's normally fake people. They do exist. So I understand they do exist. Even back in Zambia and other African countries, I agree they do exist. But there, it's very socially and culturally very normal to express that you don't like someone, and you don't have to pretend. It's normal. Whilst here, you have to put up a face. If you feel a certain way, it's better you just nice and polite. But back home, I can just say, don't like you, not coming near you, this is not happening. And it's more acceptable. If someone was talking about you, you can go confront them, tell them, I don't like this, and part ways. It's normal back home. Here, people talk, they can confront, but it's very difficult to see how someone really feels because there's always a front. So there's that cultural differences. So you get more people who are polite here, but there's no real connection. Like there's no heart to heart. It's like makeup that we ladies put on. You've got a different face during the day. You're all posh and pretty, and then when you take off the makeup, it's another person, kind of thing. But I do like the politeness at some degree. I do like it. Though I do realize that people in the US don't have the way sometimes, I know if there's no such thing as a perfect world, everything there's a give and take. Even back in Zambia, there are people who are not all good. I do understand that. So I'm being a little general, a little biased. I'm not like really saying everybody's the same way, but people are nice here. They are warm, they're more concerned. Even if it's just for gossip, they're more concerned. Whilst here, you can live in a place, you die in an apartment or as a neighbor, you can die and people won't know something happened, even maybe 50 years, and then they'll find your bones. If you've paid rent, if it's your house, it's even a problem. That's the difference. While back home, we're very nosy, so if something is happening at the neighbors, even if someone's got a big house, you have an idea on what's happening. It's like, this car should pass here. This car should pass. But from Mapanga around 8 p.m., 9 p.m., the car should come out, they go to work. Like, you have an idea. Even if there's no real talking, you have an idea about who does what back home. But here, it's like, it's just me. Like, my business, my world, it's all on you. When it comes to the economical aspect of this, I do appreciate the way they are here very much. Because of that individualism, you don't get people relying on other, like there's no expectations. Zambia and most African countries, we have too much expectancy. We expect to be helped, we expect to be given. There's so much expectancy. That's why you see in a family of 15, maybe one person is doing well and everybody just expects to be kept or helped and stuff like that. Helping is good, but not when people make it a habit. Or sometimes you have 2 or 3 are doing well, the rest just expect. Some people can even have kids and they expect the kids to be raised by other family members, but they're alive, they're breathing, so I like that. When it comes to individualism, when it comes to knowing who you are as a person, is really good. Because sometimes when we have societies and the connections like we do back home, it's hard to come out of that system or think beyond what everybody thinks around you. And sometimes, like, when I talk to people now, I do get people saying, oh my God, you've become so wise, you've changed, and stuff like that. But really, it's the same Pauline, but the way I talk depends with who I'm talking to. So if I'm silly with someone, I'll be silly and goofy. If I speak, for example, with my dad, he's very business minded, he's very serious. He's a type of person that when talking to him, I'll bring my best foot forward because he's got the capability to have a conversation at that level. But if you have like, acquaintances or friends and stuff like that, and normally you talk about things like fun, then that's how we're going to operate. It's the same thing with kids. They have a very smart brain where if someone treats them smart, they'll act to that part. If someone treats them like, oh, goo goo gaga, they say goo goo gaga. So there is that as well. So I like the part that here in the US, when it comes to the economic aspect, there is room for growth, and that's why the countries benefit. So individualism might not be that fun, but at the end of the day, it forces people to be doers. It forces people to learn to do stuff for themselves because there is no one coming to help you. Everybody's just concerned about themselves, about my family or myself or my career kind of mindset. So on that area, I do appreciate it, especially now that we've got a capitalist system all over the world and all the continents and countries, are getting jacked up. We can't continue having a mindset or thinking that doesn't serve us in this world, because we'll just go in more poverty, more poverty. That used to work a long time, but not anymore. It doesn't serve the future of the country, it doesn't serve the country. When you have many people who are lazy. I read somewhere, I think someone says people have a sense of entitlement back home. That's true. They do have entitlement. They expect. So weird. But anyway, so that's that. And what else did I write here? When it comes to dating, this is going to be fun. When it comes to dating, first of all, before I go to dating, men in the US are more respectable to women here. Yep, I said it. They're more respectful here. Men back home, women are not respected. And unfortunately, that's the truth. No matter how the women have so many rights here, it's making me think in a different way. Like, for example, you can add someone here as a friend on Facebook, someone from USA or other developed nations like the Europes and whatever. There is no such thing as someone just coming to your inbox and saying hi, hello, hi. And I'm like, Jesus, I don't have time for this. I would rather someone says hi Colleen, blah blah blah. Like, put everything there so I know what someone is asking. Like, I don't have that index. I could either be chatting with my brothers back home or my dad or something, so that's really annoying. And then people here, the other thing I really love, something I love here as well, people respect time. They understand time. Back home, because when someone is very free, they expect the other person to be free. And here, the world, you have to hustle and you have to put in the work. You have to, people are busy. So that time to just sit and start spending time just saying hi, back, hi, like, come on. No one got time for that. Yeah, anyway, so that's it. So men here are more respectful to women than back home. Back home, it's really bad. I've always been irritated by it, I won't lie. And I remember all my life, or most of my life, I've been told, sometimes I hear, oh, too cheeky or too what, too stuff. But at the end of the day, I've never really aligned with cultural thinking back home when it comes to just how, sometimes men, how they would address women, and sometimes it just didn't make sense to me. So being here, I do appreciate that men respect women. That's a big plus. The other thing I like about the other difference between US and back home Zambia. Zambia, when someone gets married, even here, it's a big deal. People are happy. It's a big deal even here, marriage and all that good stuff. But the difference is people here understand marriage is starting a journey with someone, continuing your life back with someone. Back home, Zambia and African countries, most of them, people have this thinking that marriage is the end goal, like it's a win, I've arrived, that's it, now the things are just going to happen. And then when they get into it, they get this waking up where they realize life of bills, they realize life of responsibilities, they realize it's not all rosy, and some don't even, some just think that's the end goal. When you get married, that's it. And it's a little bit sad. In the US, you'll find someone who is 30, 35, they will talk about marriage, but people talk more about careers, especially the individuality thing. People really care about financial some security, growth, and education. It's much bigger here. It's a bigger deal. Back home, the biggest thing you can talk about is a kitchen party and who got married. That's the highlights of weeks. Like, that's what people really do. It's who's getting married, which kitchen party are we going to. And at the end of the day, there's no money in the country, many kids being born, and so I see the mindset and how our belief system and what we value bring more poverty, whilst here there's production. It's a big deal. So people here would celebrate as well, just as much as people would celebrate a wedding. They celebrate when someone gets a job, girl or guy. The more responsible you are, the better for you. And even if there's no one clapping for you, here is a thing where it's like a normal thing. You don't just sit and start waiting, oh no, I'll get married, and no, people are jacked up. That's why even they have more rights and stuff like that. So I do appreciate that aspect. Ask me a question. Let me see if I missed something. What would you like to ask, like when it comes to comparison? Oh, here's a thing. This is another one. I find this one interesting. One of the differences between USA and Zambia and most African countries, I'm saying most because some cultures are a little alike, you know what I mean, is when girls are getting married, they go through so much. The drums, the what, things. Sometimes I'm not a good advocate for too much tradition. I'm not the best advocate. The drums, you jump, you bite something, you're like, and I'm like, you jump the ocean. I'm like, what? Like, why do you need to jump the ocean? What does that have to do with that life? They go through so many things that don't make sense. Oh, oh, Aripanga busy. But at the end of the day, when you look at here, they have their traditions as well. But they do things that they teach without minimizing someone, making someone be like this. Sometimes you see weddings, so as if you're in a court case, or you're going you've done something wrong, and then you're going to the slaughterhouse. But it's a wedding, a celebration. But I love that here things are lighter, so you're more happy, instead of smiling, you're with your getting married. Oh, thank you. Instead of having that, you have someone if you're that I find a little weird. And at the same time, people here are more respected. Women here are more happy, in spite that. So I'm like, what the heck? What's the point? Why are you making someone trying to hook something from a roof? Like, what does that have to do? Just teach them, talk, like, it doesn't serve anyone right now. Oh no, when you hear this, what if you had... That's why you find sometimes when people are married, you can't talk, you're just like, keep it all to yourself. But here, they encourage communication, Like, let it out, you know? If I can end up. Well, that's a relationship. If I went off track, I'm sorry. I just couldn't help it. But it's just funny how what preparations when it comes to women and stuff like that, people emphasize mufunde, mufunde, mushineni. Like, why are you pinching someone who's getting married? What the heck? Mushinenu matanta. Like, why? I don't get it. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I went off track. Yeah, I get a little emotional when it comes to that. And you have so many people, everybody's dancing and happy, and then you should just be like this. Don't smile, don't look. And I'm like, it's your day, you spend money, you get people together, you want to be happy, you spend your own money which you worked for. You buy beer, people are drinking wines and whatever, but you can't smile. And then you can't look directly, you have to stay like, you have to see what you paid for. You have to see. Anyway, I'm sorry. I mean, sorry. Back to the topic. Okay, so Nashpa. Anyway, so back to the differences between Zambia and USA. I do love this. I'll praise Zambia. I'll praise most African countries. I do love the aspect that there is respect when it comes to elders. There's some respect there. I love that. I am for that. I do believe you should have some respect and some regard to people who are older than you. You don't talk to them like okay, talk more of rights and the power of acknowledging them. Rights. When you say rights, some policies yangi, so you have to give me a direction, something to hone on. You can give me direction and then we can really hone on to that. But I do like that there's some respect when it comes to the way you talk to people who are older than you, or just you can kid around, but the real way is there's just that kind of, just having some courtesy. Whilst here, you can tell anyone anything. Up yours, and you're walking away, and it's like no one. I'm like, that just happened. Yeah, so that's one of them. Let's see what else. You can ask you can ask me, and then I'll let you know. So differences between USA and most African countries. Give me something and I'll touch it. This is something also different. Belief system is very different. So like, for example, when someone is too ambitious, or they're climbing the ladder, they're trying to get out of a certain system and stuff like that, and they get some wins, personal wins, people here root for their people, just like Nigerians do. Nigeria does that too. They root for their people, they support. If you say something like, they speak positively about themselves, there's patriotic kind of vibe here. Back home, I don't know about other countries, I don't want to like just say everyone, people really talk down on ourselves, and we bring down when one person climbs and is trying to get better. This is a good example. So listen to this. So here, when you speak something that makes sense or whatever, there are people who come out and they'll lift you up, because they want to claim, look at our person, is we've got someone good in this and that and that and that. Back at home, if you speak your mind or you sound smart, and you're like, what happened? Like, we're so much driven to bring someone down. I don't get that. when someone does well, I never used to understand it. Actually, I'm one of the people, guilty. I'm one of the people who used to think, that person, after they got some money, they changed. Tabamoneka, shani, obasa. Now I understand. Now, the more I grow, the wiser I become, the more I understand. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know. When you have people who are all negative, who have a certain mindset, and you're growing, you can't relate. For to Sheila, you have people leave you because, you people who are growing mentally, they can't keep explaining themselves to someone who can't understand. How many times are you going to explain? It's tiring. Here you just run and you focus on getting better. Kabidi Zambia, so much women. There is no much woman empowerment like the US. So kupwafie nango kupwafie nango va kuto. So kuzambia kupwafie nango va kutoba kabidi nishi nilavu atinga vakushempolupi. I'm sorry. Zambia and Africa wenga vakutoba olupi. Oh yeah, I love. But here, women rights. I do agree to some extent, but we can do better. And when people have more rights, like when women have more rights, it helps maintain a home as well. Because when there are no rights, you find most men have nothing to lose. They can have 50, 100 women. They have nothing to lose. It's to their just thinking. There is no guideline there. So there is that also. That's why in USA you find someone who keep a partner, they'll keep a wife because it's expensive to lose them, to part ways. Sometimes that happens. So so true, we allowed when our friend and people fail, and yes, we're very loud. But that's one of the things I've come to accept, I've come to learn, and something I appreciate about being here. Here you can ride a bicycle, it's no big deal, no one cares. Whether it's healthy for you, it's no big deal. You can ride a bicycle to town. Here you can walk blocks. It's no big deal. People are very economical because they understand the value of $1. They understand the value of money. You find someone, not that everybody goes through this, but I'm saying it's normal if you choose to have 1 meal in a day, you want 2 meals, you have 10, you junk and then you become big, whatever. But people understand economics and money here. Back home, it's a poor country, poor economy, but people want to all pretend to be Jay-Z and Beyonce. I'm like, people are so stuck into trying to prove a point, and it's a culture. I can't even blame, because at the end of the day, people will look at you funny when you ride a bicycle, and the type of car you drive. Are you driving a Spatial, Corolla like I used to, Pajero, Benz? But that happens here as well. So it's not just Zambia. The ghetto here, like in the ghetto, like for lack of better words, combon, yeah, kuno, the same mentality with, yeah. You find someone lives in like a tiny place or whatever, but they have a cheap Benz outside. It happens here too. And normally the more you go to people who are well-to-do off, the less flashy they are. So like, this is another thing. I've seen most African countries, and we get the Western and European culture when it comes to dressing, how we're acting and all that good stuff, but we're emulating people from the ghetto who make it, whilst here some people like the elite and people who really, they're very simple. So if you see even someone like billionaires, millionaire, not everyone's flashy. Flashy normally is for people who live like combon, like kakona kadia, and then they have something and then they wear that. It symbolizes that. But it's like a culture now with hip hop and stuff like that, and that's what in Africa most people emulate. So simplicity is a big deal here. If you come, you can walk the street, you meet many people with money, you have no idea because they are so like simple and easygoing. That's one of the differences. So people here, or not people here, those that are old money or those people that are wealthy, they're more concerned about maintaining their wealth than trying to prove a point because they enjoy their privacy. Whilst there, it's I should buy a car that screams I can afford it. That's the difference. Yeah. So something to think about. So instead of people just accumulating things, they make money, they're accumulating money, the bank is growing bigger, you're hustling, the account is growing slowly, hustling business or whatever. Back home, when you make a profit, whatever you have, you use the little money you have. If it's 10,000, 15, or $20,000, 30,000, whatever little money it is, you go to SA or you go to Dubai or Tanzania, you buy a car, and then people see that you've got a car. That's a lifestyle back home. When the economy is down and there's poverty, but it's a culture. And I understand it's because of the background. We just got our independence about 50 something years. So the mindset, the thinking, to show worthiness, we have to put on things that say, okay, this is what I'm worth. I'm more than that other person and stuff like that. So I get that mentality. Culture. Something else that's different, the way people talk. I spoke about something like this, but it's a little different now. Here, you just can't say something like, oh my god, you're so fat. You're so fat, you don't look nice. Home, that's how we talk. When you see someone you don't like, oh my god, you've become so fat. You don't look nice. Start going to the gym. Like, that's normal, regardless of how the other person feels. Here, you can never say that. Like, you can't say that. You can even be sued if you're not careful. You can't say that. The other thing is, back home, you can go and say things that are very personal. Here, there's no such thing as personal. So most African countries and Zambia, you can go and tell someone, for example, I'll talk about my gap. You can go and say, Pauline, your gap is too big, it doesn't look nice. No, maybe minimize it, put a filler or something. Like, people have that kind of opinion. Here, you can't. Keep your opinion and thoughts to yourself. Even if you see something, don't say, it's none of your business, kind of thing. So people can think something or it can run through their mind, but you can't really, unless maybe if you're talking about just maybe people who are really close and they make jokes like that. But you just can't go to a stranger or someone you work with or someone you're in class with and say something personal like that. You cannot do that. The other thing is, when it comes to in person, for example, I can start talking about my love life and stuff, and someone can ask me about love life and stuff like that. Here, you can't go to another person, and I forget at times. I've never done it. Safe. But you just can't ask people stuff. Oh, the other thing I touched on, let me touch back on it again. The difference. People feel entitled there. Like, people are back home in Zambia and other African countries, people expect to be helped from a situation. Oh, help me. You don't help your own people. Here, it's do it yourself. So I'll give you an example. Like, you have someone who, even $10 or whatever, not everybody expects to beg and be given. People work for that money. And back home, you have someone who's very relaxed and, oh, just give me $50 or $100. So that's different. What else is different? Ask me. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Ask me. Yeah. So those are the few things I was thinking that I could share. So again, cultural norms, no women rights, and the culture back home doesn't do. So you can say tradition is good. Tradition is good. It doesn't do much for you. Makes you get clapped. Puts you in a place that doesn't give you power. You're programmed and taught you just have to be like this. Don't never, your opinion shouldn't be there, then you're not a good woman. Keep it to yourself. But here, people are vocal, they express themselves, and I like the part that people can express themselves. Like, people can talk, you can talk whatever you want to talk about, but it has to be, you're expressing yourself, it's about you, not another person. So for example, I can talk about my mindset, I can talk about what I'm doing, I can talk about what I want. It's me expressing myself, but I can't go and start, you should, you shouldn't. Like, that's the difference. Get it? Small difference but big difference at the same time. So everyone has an you can, it's your life. Your father, your mother, it's not their business. But back home, everything is everyone's business. That's why growing, or actually getting that mindset that will remove someone from a domino effect, a system, is harder, because what you can do has to be approved by people around you, usually, sadly. So that's it. Hi Jessica, hi Brenda, and Philip, hi Miriam, hi Benjamin, hi everybody, hi Hitty, hi Chris, hi Tino, hi Japheth, Nicholas, McPherson, Wiza, hi McCoy, Mummy, Kafula, Chisha, Lolo, Mary, hi everybody, good morning. So those are some differences when it comes to differences between the US and thing. And also, this I realized, I think, a few days ago, and I'm still learning. I'm still very much learning. And sometimes I see things, but I don't know how to express them in a way that I don't offend, because sometimes the way you speak, if you come out too strong, it's like, oh, that's too strong. So I really hold things in, because what I really want is not to piss off people. I want to understand so that I can communicate effectively. Even business is the same thing. There is this saying, people buy from people they like as well. So I need to understand the mindset, the way people think, their culture norms, so that I don't end up pissing off people without realizing. Yeah. What else? That's the only things I could think about. I can't think of anything else. Ask me, let me know. What are some of the things you've wondered? Oh, everybody knows this one, but assuming it's not good, so I'll still say it, but I think everybody knows this one. So like, back home, if you've got Wapongoshi, you've got you can't really be open. There are so many boundaries, so many rules. Here, those people are your friends, and you can talk openly and stuff like that. Like, obviously respectable and stuff like that, but you can be yourself. That's a plus. Yay. What else? I can't think of anything else, but let me know if you think of something. So I have a few more minutes, and then I will be saying bye. I'm going to go on IG for a bit. Just say good night to my IG people, because I do have friends there that are not friends on Facebook. So, any questions? Let's see if I missed something that I could comment on. I'm sorry the phone is shaking. Sorry. This is how you know if someone hasn't got, is not doing anything after on a Friday night being on Facebook. That's how you know. Yeah. And this is another thing. One thing I like, the whole world. Am I sure? I'm not so sure about this one because Australia might be a little different. But in general, in the whole world, have you ever thought about why they say America is a land of dreams? The difference is people say America is a land of dreams because, yes, it's a land of dreams, done. But it's the only country where no matter where you come from, no matter how you speak, your background, all that hibby-jabby crap that doesn't matter, if you seek the answers, there are paths. There's path to anything and any lifestyle you want. It's just, are you willing to go for it? Are you open-minded enough to ask the right questions? And who you surround yourself with, what are you going to learn? So just like the way it is in Zambia, here you can find people who are just, easy and, they don't care, and there are many people like that. At the same time, if you just want a career 9 to 5, there are many people like that. If you want the nightlife, the party life, there are many people like that. But if you want a life of financial freedom, some wealth, there are channels. That's the difference here. There are ways. You can go to Europe, you can go to China. No matter how smart you are, you won't have the same opportunities as the locals, especially if you're starting from nothing. It's not as easy, but USA, it doesn't matter where you come from. You can search information, you can start making your connections, like you can do stuff here. That's one thing I love. And I learned something. Let me share. There are many opportunities that are in the world when it comes to making money. And those opportunities and lessons and stuff like that don't come to Africa, usually. The system is not meant for the minorities, unfortunately. The system is meant to keep people regular. So you go to school, you get high school, you go to university, you get a regular job, regular lifestyle. So most people, 99% of people you see, or 98 or whatever percentage it is, that's what the system does. To get that answer or to get the lifestyle that's different, you have to do things that are not in the system. Yeah. You have to know who to follow. You have to know which people to connect with. Yeah. And then the other difference is masterminds and opportunities are advertised in Northern Americas, Europe, China, and Australia and New Zealand. Africa doesn't get the same chances because people there are not ready. I've seen it for myself. I do understand where they come from, because at the end of the day, people are just supply and demand according to the type of market that's out there. And I see that the opportunities, the development that's happening, really, they're just like, they're there, but they're not as open as it is here. So the same masterminds I may having, and they've been there for many generations, many thousands of years, but a long time they used to be only for the top elite. And then they came a little bit down, but now they're there. But still, most people, whatever courses, whatever opportunities, they're marketed to those. Africa doesn't really get that because the market there is not ready or awake, or they weren't part of the growth. Most African countries are just consumers when it comes to maybe clothes, watches, a car, importing, stuff like that. But knowledge, we're very behind. That's why even when people see an opportunity, they don't understand what they are saying. So I do get that point. So like even my masterminds or whatever I do, First, I thought, okay, business, I want to grow as a person, and at the same time, I want to help people who are already awake and looking for such opportunities. So, like, I do have things that are, I market to USA, I market to Europe, I market to Australia and China, some countries in Asia and India. You know, people are really okay there and they're up to date. But most African countries, the market is not there. So even if there's something really good that people can benefit of internationally, they're more skeptical because it doesn't even sound normal on some money that people make. So like for example, you have someone on Amazon, they're making, just regular people, they're making about it's just that also I've taken long to really understand, because I used to see some of these things but I never understood them. And now the more open-minded, the more I've done research and I see so many things, and I'm trying to pick which one to really go with. You know, there are people who are making $40,000 a month. There are people who are making $100,000 a month. 100, in case you didn't hear me, $100,000, $150,000, selling on Amazon. There are courses, because if you don't take a course, every business, even those people who take courses, do have issues. But when you have a guideline, you have someone to fall back on, you have less trial and errors. You know, there is all those things, and anyone can do it from anywhere in the world, but Africa doesn't touch that market. You don't get part of the cookie. And sometimes I think, okay, am I just wasting my time? You know, I really think, but then I think, no, I have to give something back. I have to show. But I will keep on showing. But I do realize that holding my breath until everybody, or some people at least, understand some values I put there will take time. Because normally people hear the conversation 8, 10, 15 times for them to really open up or go, oh wow, you know, to really understand. So I will be throwing things there, you know, sprinkling whatever small knowledge I have. I don't know everything, and I don't claim to, but I really believe in sharing all I know. So that's that. And as you know, I just came here like 3 years ago, so I'm still trying to find my feet and all that good stuff. But whatever I know that I think is valuable, I share openly. I do have my masterminds where I really immerse people and really teach people, like really dig deep. But at least this is helping me communicate my thoughts. And some it might be entertainment, some it might pick one or two things. Some might be sleeping and they'll wake up and say, oh God, you know, this actually, you know, they'll really, really reflect and they'll see connections, see, oh, that's why that happens, oh, that. And if 99 people watch and I have 1 or 2 people who open up and understand, to me, that's a win. It's something at least. So that's why I always ask, leave a comment below so that I see what you're thinking. You know, you actually are not just listening, you actively participate, and that way you engage your brain. And sometimes the best thing anyone can do is question their brain, question your beliefs, question your brain. And you know what, I will give you a surprise and then I will go. Since I have 4 people, I see 4 people right now, I don't know if it's more or, yeah, it's the internet. I have a surprise I am going to give you. Value. If you're ready for the value, give me a like or a heart. I will give it to you right now. And when I give you this value, I'm waiting. If I get the likes, I will show you, and the loves. Show me you're there. Show me you're watching. And I will show you something. I want you to think about it. This is something that I didn't realize, and it took me some time to actually understand, but let me write it down. Thank you for the heart. Okay, so I'm writing something. It's about wealth, money, business, and growth. My gift. So let me draw something and then I'll show it to you. So life has systems. There is a regular life. There is a financial freedom. Regular life, financial freedom. Growth. Okay. I hope it's not upside down. Can you see this properly? No. I'll use numbers. It's okay. I have another way of explaining it. I'll use numbers. Okay, so if you remember this is -1, this is 1, this is 0. Give me likes if you can see that, and I will explain. Especially if you don't get it, if you've never seen this before, I will explain. I will try to simplify it. So the way life is, no matter what happens in life, time goes, things will happen, and it will change you. And even if you do nothing, you are changing. The way you were 5 years ago and today is going to be different. Maybe a little older, maybe taller, maybe more wrinkles, but you have to choose. You really have to choose. If you choose, see it in terms of 0 and 1. I was going to say 0 is life happening. 1 is where you're going. Let's say maybe you want wealth, maybe you want a house, maybe you want a love life that's good, a relationship, that has love, passion, all that good stuff. Maybe you just want a great car, whatever you want. There's no wrong answer. Everybody has what they like. And there's -1. When life happens to you, you're on 0. Really follow me on this one. You're on 0. If you say I am going to 1, you have to choose. You have to relieve yourself from what you think is right, what you think is wrong, and what you believe, and you have to follow what gets you to 1. I'll explain. And if you don't do anything, life will happen to you, you'll be at 0. But when life really goes back, you're going to negative. That's why it's very important to know. So for example, another analogy, it's the same with business, it's the same with marriage and love life, relationships, even dating. If you say, okay, I want, for example, to be in a relationship that's loving, that has great sex, that has great passion, that has great communication, you want it all, if you have that mindset, you have to act in a way that you get those things. If you don't do anything to improve yourself and you expect to find another person to fulfill, just dump those things on you, that's why you find people are always complaining, they're not loving, they're on the partner they have. When it comes to business, the same thing. You can repeat this last part, this gift I'm giving you. When it comes to business and you say, I want to make, for example, it's just an example, hypothetical. I want to be making, 10,000 kwacha or $10,000 every month. When you look at jobs and opportunities, you start from the ground if you have nothing. When you're saving, I want to be earning that much. So as you're saving money, you understand that the money I'm saving, I'll start a business, and the business, it's something that should be earning me the amount I want. So you have direction. You're going towards the 1. Your behavior, the choices you make, the type of people you hang out are people who will help you get closer to 1, or who help you grow, or don't want to keep you in the position of zero. There is zero and there is one. You want to go to one. In a relationship or business, you have to think and you have to act in a way that will get you to that point. So if you're in a relationship and you want love, you want great sex, and they tell you have to be going to the gym, for example, you have to be going to the gym. The more fit you are, you're going to have more stamina. You're going to be doing flip-flops, back some everywhere, with your partner. There are rules and you have to follow that. There is an equation. The more active you are, the more you are better as a lover. The more active you are into business stuff, you'll be climbing the ladder. You're going to be different with a person who has no goals, who doesn't know what they're doing. So that's one way to look at things. If you want to create a business, let's say you make would you say these cultural differences has led us, ladies, especially black, home, have a slow economic. Oh, I lost it. Oh my god. Oh, Miriam, I lost you. Okay, I'll find it and I'll go back to it before I go, when I just finish this point. So if I say, for example, I'll give an example. I'll start with relationship and I'll start with business. I tell myself, Pauline, I want to get married. I want a partner who's there, who's loving. My actions, I should be worthy. I should create the me that will attract such a person. It's not taking care of yourself and just expecting someone to, no, they should love me as I am. It doesn't happen. If it does, it's very rare. So you have to work towards a goal. If you're looking for business or you're working and you are getting a certain salary and you want more, you have to start hanging out with, if you want to go to manager and you're on sales, it's just for example, start hanging out with managers, see how they think, start getting those connections. You never know who connects you. So your actions should relate to the type of outcome you want. If you want to be a manager but you're always hanging out and having a lifestyle of people who are on a certain stage, you'll be stuck your whole life. You'll be, oh no, as a salesperson, and then the other sales, like, you'll find the time you're even 60, that's the only job you did. It's not that you were not good, but you didn't put a goal, so you were kept in the same position, regardless of you getting older. Same with relationships. If you don't change, you don't have at least a standard to say, I want this kind of relationship, they will drag you left and right. Been there, done that, trust me. Speaking from experience. And it does make sense now. The more what you tolerate is what will inhibit you. So it could be family, it could be friends. If people want to keep you in the same place and you want something more, you have to start attaching yourself to people who think or are at a place where you want to be. That's one of the rules of growing. But in Zambia, most African countries, mostly Zambia, we have this thing when someone starts developing, oh, never change, stuff like that. And that person at the end of the day will start feeling guilty, will start feeling bad, and they will start coming back to that place they came from. At the end of the day, we maintain the poverty. So the culture, outlook, the society thing, it's good, but that's a negative, that's a downside. So that's why I keep on saying sometimes, when you choose a goal, because other times, if let's say you're making $10,000 every month, you do get to that goal, you'll find many people want to hang around that person, and you're going to spend that money instead of reinvesting in your education, because the difference between a manager and someone who's lower, it's what's there. So what someone needs is to upgrade, and some of these things school teaches us how to be basic, and university how to have regular jobs. Sometimes people get a good job and they go on the ladder, but it's 1 out of 1,000 or 1,000,000. So as a business person, entrepreneur, you have to think outside the box. Connect yourself with like-minded people. If you find ladies, there are ladies who are always, their goal is looking good, the makeup, the shoe. That's their win. They've reached it in life. They've made it. Other people will want to say, you know what, I want to be making at least $30,000 a month. But that person, maybe you never see them with weave, you never see them with wig, they're not all over the show. Their dream is bigger. And that person who, according to them, a person should only look this way, will not align. And at times it's detaching. Did it make sense? If it didn't, leave a comment. And I can start a topic again, trying to break this down. I can even write it down so that I stay on point and make sure I say it in a way people understand. You want to be a manager? Connect with people who are there. See how they think, see how they act. Start. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to start figuring out stuff. See someone who's at a place and try to emulate what they do. If someone has a good marriage and they're always at home, they usually spend time with a partner, and you want that, spend more time with a partner. That's it. If you have someone who just talks too much, who is a problem, that's another problem for another day. But let me know if this made sense. If it didn't make sense, some people, it takes time. It can be a month, a day, hours, minutes, years, and then they'll go, now it makes sense. Everybody's time is different. Don't worry about it. I'll be repeating. I'm planting seeds, and eventually at one point it's going to click. It might not be today, but it's going to click on one day. Or maybe you'll listen it from another person and you'll be like, oh, that's you'll let me know. So that's that. Thank you for watching. I am going to say goodnight because I'm talking to myself. Does anyone want to go live with me? You can have a little chat with me if you like before I go. Anybody want to come in the video and we can talk? Are you still in your oh, I remember I got a comment that I was supposed to, but I can't see it. Oh no. Oh, I don't see it. But I remember it was about, it came from Miriam. I'll find it and then I'll get back to it. But thank you so much for watching. If you have questions, comments, reflections, opinions, please feel free to write in the comment section below. I would like to hear it. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, everybody, for the likes and the hearts. Love you guys. Much love. Good night. It is 1:25 a.m. I should be sleeping. Oh, dear God. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Any questions, any contributions? I'll try to pause a message and answer. I can't see the other one. So, like I said, have a goal, focus, and stick to the goal. And it's okay not to make sense to people around you. You can't manage to explain your thinking to everybody. By the time you are on the 15th, your energy will go, your momentum to apply what you want. Sometimes zip it. If people get you, fine. If they don't, fine. Just walk your path. Signing off and saying goodnight. Bye, Facebook friends. Bye. I love you all. Thank you for watching. You have been amazing. Yeah. Bye.